Right, you sit there. Do you want me blue? Who's that in there? Is that you? Mesmerised. Right. Hello everybody, welcome to the second episode of Pronto TV. I think we're going to stick with that name. It seems quite legit. Right, so again I have my special guest, Eli. This is my son. Say hello, Eli. Again, quite rude. Right, so today I want to talk about rolling dough. It seems quite fitting as this is Pronto TV. And plus I've had quite a few people ask me to tell them how to do it. So there's a few ways of how you're going to do it. I think I'm going to teach you 4 different ways. I only use one technique because I think it's the best way. It takes a bit of practice, but it's all good if you'll get there in the end. But also just finding out which one works for you is quite useful. Out of all the things that I learned in a pizzeria, for some reason rolling dough I found really hard. Like cook a pizza, no problem. Open a pizza, no problem. Making dough, no problem. But when I was being taught how to roll dough, I was like, so, you know, maybe my brain just doesn't function like that. Okay, so anyway, this is our dough. This has been fermenting now for 2 days. It's Thursday morning. I made it on Tuesday morning. So 48 hours in the making. This is beautiful. I don't know if you can see it. It's nice and fluffy and it's got lots of air pockets in it, which is going to make a really nice pattern on the crust when it gets cooked. And it's just a really nice texture. It's quite elasticated is the correct term. Don't copy your dad on how to speak proper English because I am a moron. Okay, so technique number 1. Let's give this a go. So I do know how to do this, but I don't do it very often. So you've got to bear with me. So I think probably the most easiest way to roll a dough ball is laying it flat on the table and then just taking the sides and just bringing them over like that. So one side, turning it over and then just repeating that process over and over again. What you're trying to do is basically bring the corners into the middle, so this creates a nice dough ball effect. Again, I don't often use this technique, but I've seen it done quite a few times. So, do you want to play with that? Don't poke your eye out. Okay? Okay, cool. Actually, Eli, do you want a piece of dough? Do you want to play with some dough? Eli absolutely loves dough. Every time I bring dough home to roll it, he is infatuated by it. Okay, anyway, so with this technique, basically you're just trying to bring the sides, if a round ball has sides, into the middle. So basically you're looking for that effect. It's going to be nice and smooth on the outside, and then in the middle it's just going to be rubbish like that. So the way you'd finish this off is just pinch it together like this. Obviously it still looks a bit meh. So you just roll it along the table like that. I don't know if you're going to find that easy. I think this is pretty simple stuff. Slam it against, do that as well because it's going to help just bring all the dough together. in the bottom, and it could be quite rough with it. It's quite weird doing this sat down because you normally stood up and I don't really apply the pressure. So this table is very wobbly. Okay, so there you go. It's smooth on the bottom, smooth on the top. Perfect. Okay, so that's number one. Technique number two is basically, now for me, I think it's really important to squeeze the air out of the dough because you're having fun there. What is it? Ooh, it feels weird, doesn't it? For me, it's really important that you squeeze the air out the dough. If you don't do that, when you go to open the pizza, opening means flattening the dough into a round base, you're going to have loads of little air pockets in it. Mainly you're going to have them in the crust. So when it goes into the oven, you're going to have these air pockets on the side of the crust, which are really thin layers of dough on the outside, if you know what I mean. Like the side of the air pocket is going to be really thin dough. So when it gets blasted by the heat, it's just going to burn. So it'll inflate and then it'll burn, and then it's inedible. So it's rubbish. So I think, well, I'll get onto the technique I use, but I think get the air out the dough. It's super important. So the way in which you do that, you just squeeze it like this. So you just crush it in your hands like that, just turning, squeezing, turning, squeezing, turning, squeezing. And really you want to be doing that before you do any of these. Are you attacking me with a whale? What have I done? You're mental. Right, so just squeeze it like that. All right, Jesus. Okay, so easiest. All right, mate. Okay. All right. Eli, focus on the dough. Are you gonna look? I'll get you some pens out, but obviously you draw all over the table. Are we done here? Okay. Right, so get the air out the dough just by doing this. Super simple. Because if you don't, you're going to get loads of black spots on your pizza and makes it inedible, basically. Right, so this technique, super simple. A lot of people use this. I'm not necessarily a fan because I don't think it makes the dough ball super tight, which is kind of what you're after. But, whoa, where are you going? Don't stand up. Okay, let's lift you up. Okay. Draw on Daddy's menu. Oh, lovely. It's a nice non-permanent pen. You just get your dough. Well, I've made it that shape now, which probably isn't helpful for you guys. So squeeze the air out of it. And then, super simple, you just get your fingers in a claw shape, like that. Run it around the dough, like so. And just do this until it turns into a ball. This is super simple. You can do 2 at a time. If your table isn't super wobbly. Whoa, where are you going? You bored? Are you just going to go? It's quite rude. The people are going to miss you, Ego. Okay, just don't set yourself on fire or anything. So, you can do 2 at a time if you want. Boom, ba boom, ba boom, if you're a professional like me. But let's just focus on one. So you just go round and round and round and round and round until you have a ball shape. Voila! Even the bottom is nice and smooth. You may want to just pinch that actually. Boom! Perfect. That's probably one of the easiest ways to do it. Okay, so this one I don't normally do. I find it quite difficult, to be honest. This is how the proper Italians do it. So I'm going to put two together to give you a kind of general idea of what it looks like. So they would have like a mountain of dough here, and they would cut like long strips out the mountain of dough. So essentially you can imagine this is a strip of dough that goes on like that. And then what they do is they'll come at it from this angle and they'll fold it under like this. Fold it under, and then they'll kind of bring it through the hand like this and just nip it off like that, which gives you a dough. The only problem with this, if you're kind of running a business, portion sizes are all over the place. One dough ball might be 260 grams, one dough ball might be 400 grams. So it's not a technique I like to use because it's not very accurate, but that's kind of how the real authentic Neapolitan style pizza chefs do their thing. Okay, so I'm going to show you my technique because I think it's probably the best one. You get the best results out of it, meaning that the dough ball is a perfect round shape. And the reason why it's important, okay, he hasn't killed himself yet, this is good. The reason why it's important that the dough ball is a perfect round shape is that when it sets, it's bound together really tightly, and the dough sets like in balance. So there's equal amounts of dough inside the ball, and it sets, and there's no like holes, like gaps of dough in there, so there's no air pockets. So that the problem with that is that when it's set and you go to open it, you're going to have thin spots in the pizza, which then leads to like holes and things like that. So it's important that the dough is tight. It's important that the dough gets time to set, and it's important that yeah, it's a proper tight ball basically. You're right down there. Just having a drink. Having a drink. Yeah. Okay, so this is my technique, or well, I didn't come up with it, but this is what I was taught, and I think it's the best way. So get your dough like this. Again, squeeze the air out of it. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm just going round and crunching, well, squeezing the air out of it. Once you have this shape, it's sort of like a flat dough ball. What you do is you get your hand like this, open, and you put it in, you put the dough like this, and then, you right? You okay? It's just water. You just drank some water. Okay. You okay? God. Right, okay. So you have the dough, you have your hand, palm open like this. You're a maniac. Just calm down. Calm down. Yeah. Right, so palm open like this. You got your flat piece of dough like that. You put it in there, and what you're trying to do is you're just curling this side of the dough inside the dough ball. Boom. Very much like the first technique I showed you, but we're doing it off the table, and your palm is acting as the table. So you just go around, you're just folding it, so you're just turning, in, turn, in, turn, in, turn, in. So you do that. Now this, I'm making it look very easy, but it might take you a few attempts. So once you've done that, you get the bottom, because obviously that's got a big hole in it there. You just pinch it closed, like so. Do, 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 do. You have a perfect ball. This is my favourite technique. This is where I get the best results out of it from. Okay, just a note, when you do roll your dough, make sure that it's at room temperature. If it's not at room temperature, either it's too cold, it's going to be too hard, like when you're doing that, it's just going to keep on resisting against you. It's not really going to go into a shape as such. It will always retract and come out of its shape that you've made for it. So make sure it's at room temperature. Also, if it's too hot, your dough is going to be too sticky, and it's just going to like water. Oh my God, you covered yourself in water. You alright? Guilty, but you've just covered yourself in water, it's fine. Almost done anyway. A very good week for Eli. He's managed to say the word rhino and chicken. Did you say rhino? Rhino? Chicken? Okay. Right, I'm going to wrap this up because he's covered himself in water and he's very wet. So, I think I covered all the basics. Are you going to say goodbye to the viewers? Say bye. Okay then. Right. Yeah. Enjoy. I'm going to whack this on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel, Pronto TV. Also, I might even have an intro next week. Who knows? Big time. We're getting big. We're getting real big down here. Right. Have a great week. And I'll see you soon. Bye. Say goodbye, Eli. Okay then.